Hi, I'm Lauren, and I have a fun Whimsy Stamps card to share with you today. It's also a new release day, so lots of videos for me right now, but I created this fun, magical underwater scene, and I really hope you enjoy this tutorial.
Hi, it's Lauren and welcome to another Whimsy Stamps tutorial video. Today I'm sharing with you how I created my own under the sea scene using the brand new Fintastic 4x6 clear stamp. I absolutely love this brand new stamp set. Can we talk about how amazing these mermaids are? I absolutely love how cute and adorable they are, and they're adorable little critters with them. We have a crab, some starfish, and a couple fish. I went ahead and fussy cut these out, and I also used my brother's scan and cut to help. I also trimmed out all of my sentiments, so I have everything ready to layer onto my card once I'm done with my background. I am using my Slimline card builder die, and I'm going to cut 2 pieces of mixed media paper. I'm going to be distressing and using some water and kind of torturing my paper a bit, so I wanted to make sure it could really hold up. I also wanted to make sure that my mermaids were going to fit and I had a good size, and I went ahead and cut 2 pieces out and trimmed one of them down using the new Slimline Wavy dies that were also just released today. I'm going to be coloring in this wavy piece to be the sand of my ocean. So I'm starting off with tea dye. I think this is such a great sandy color, but I also wanted to add vintage photo just to add a little bit of depth and kind of dimension to this piece, really to just kind of step it up. I think it looks great as is, but adding a little bit of a darker color as like a shadow really adds a lot of depth to your card and makes your scene come to life. So I'm just going along the bottom here, and I'm using a post-it note to help keep my fingers from getting too much into the ink and getting fingerprints everywhere. I've done it before, and especially in places where I don't want them to be, so it's just a nice, easy way to make sure I keep my fingers clean and keep my card looking nice. I went ahead and used my distress spray to add a little bit of texture to my sand, and then I'm bringing out Walnut stain as a darker brown color, and I just smushed that onto a piece of plastic and applied my water from my sprayer and just using any type of paintbrush and splattering right onto this piece. Once I'm happy with my splatter, I'm going to go ahead and set this piece aside to dry, and we're going to work on now the water part of our ocean scene. So let me go ahead and make sure I flick off as much ink as I possibly can, as we are not wasteful here in my craft room. And once I've cleaned everything off, we're moving on to the water. I'm starting off with Salty Ocean, mostly because this is going to be an ocean scene, but I think this color just truly lives up to the name. It is a beautiful color for creating water and oceany scenes. I'm also going to use Mermaid Lagoon to just darken up the bottom a bit, and I'm going to work my way from the bottom and blend that into that salty ocean color. I have that little bit of white strip left because it's going to be covered by my sand, but I want to make sure that my card receiver can't see it, so I'm going to lower that color a little bit more until I am satisfied with my blend. And just like with my sand, I'm going to put that into my splatter box, use my distress sprayer to spray on some water and let that sit and create some really nice texture. I think it looks like bubbles or just some air pockets, which I guess is a bubble, so bubbles in my water. I'm going to bring out a darker color, and this is Blueprint Sketch, and I'm going to do the exact same thing like I did for my sand. Apply some water, grab that brush that's now been cleaned, and splatter on all of that beautiful blue color to create more texture and more bubbly looking parts of the water on my background. And I accidentally made a huge mess. I have blue splatter all over my table, my hand, and even my face. I have no idea why I was splattering everywhere. It was crazy. So now that both these pieces are drying, I also wanted to bring out some of my sparkly goodness. You can use any type of sparkle liquid, and if you need to make it runny, just add some water so that way you can flick that onto your backgrounds as well. I set those aside to dry, and I came back with my card base. This is cut to be a slimline card of 8.5 by 3.5 when scored and folded, and I'm going to work on layering my background now that my pieces are all dry. And because I tortured this background a little bit, I wanted to just glue this directly onto my card base to make sure it was nice and sturdy and flat. So I used some of my favorite wet glue, and I'm gluing this to the center of my card base. It gives an excellent, I think about a quarter of an inch or maybe an eighth of an inch. I think it's an eighth of an inch all the way around my background. I just love having that cardstock base kind of peek around the card. For my sandy part, I wanted to pop it up with some dimensions, so I'm using some foam adhesive that comes in a roll and just placing that on to my sand. I did 2 layers to make sure it was nice and sturdy, as I'm going to be using it to glue some of my under the sea creatures like my mermaids against this sandy part. So once that is all adhered down, I'm going to work on layering all of my pieces. I start with my 2 largest ones here, the mermaids, and they are going to be on the sides. I think this little starfish in the bubble is so cute, and I love that the mermaid has her finger pointed like she's going to pop it. I have 2 little fish cut out and my sentiment, as well as 1 more starfish. I decided to kind of fussy cut around my sentiment as it looked a little too big and bold on that white rectangle, and I thought this would just kind of help blend it into the scene a little more. And I will end up centering that to the bottom of my card and using my grid mat to help with that. And then I will also bring in that last starfish to tuck on the sand here with my sentiment, and then I will glue all of these down off camera just to spare you from watching me pick up everything and just glue it right back down in the same place. I use my wet glue to adhere my starfish and the bottoms of my mermaids to the sand as well as my sentiment, and then popped up anything that was touching the blue ocean part, like my fish and my bubbles and the tops of my mermaids. I have these clear bubble embellishments that I added to create even more fun texture to my background and make it look even more bubbly under the sea. I'm going to put a piece of white paper inside of my card base. Since I used a dark cardstock as my base, it's kind of hard to write something on the inside when it's that dark. So I have a piece of printer paper that I cut down to fit inside of my Slimline card. I'm just using some tape adhesive here, and then I will glue that to the center on the inside of my card. And this has a 1/4 inch border all the way around it. I'm going to take that thanks sentiment that I already stamped, and I'm just going to glue that right to the center inside of my card base, again using my grid mat just to help me with centering. And then I'm going to use some wet glue to glue in that adorable little extra crab I had inside. And here is my final card. I hope you learned something new and that you try creating your own under the sea cards using your inks and this brand new Fintastic stamp set. If you'd like to see everything I use, you can click down below in my description for links to all of my supplies. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked this content, I hope you'll click that like button, and if you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe. Have a wonderful day.